If you're comfortable with the SQL language, you might be tempted to start populating your Redshift cluster with simple insert statements. Possibly even wire up an ongoing process that produces insert statements and fires them off regularly. While that could work, it's not very efficient. It doesn't leverage a number of architectural benefits that Redshift is begging you to use. I mentioned a companion course to this one, focused more on the performance and internal architecture of Redshift. So I'll leave the hows and whys for that course. For our purpose, however, let's just say that you want to start equating large-scale data loading into your Amazon Redshift cluster with one of a number of other approaches, the first being the copy command. From a high level, the copy command syntax is as simple as follows. Copy, then the given table name, an optional column list, which, if excluded, means that every column will be included and ordinally based, then a from clause that specifies a data source, an authorization clause since access to that data source is going to be external to the cluster, and then a section for format, additional parameters, and arguments. Now those last three can include quite a bit. Meanwhile, the only three that are actually required are the table name, a data source, and the authorization details. Now, if you use this bare minimum approach, there's going to be a lot of assumptions made for you. So to populate the dim product table, we'll do just a really simple example of the copy command. I've opened up the AWS homepage here, and I'm going to go to S3 storage. One of the easiest ways to get data into Redshift is to load that data from just a simple S3 storage bucket. I've already created a bucket that I've called Redshift Load Queue. And in that Redshift Load Queue bucket, I've already uploaded a simple CSV file for the dim product table. I open it up here, and as you can see, it's just a simple CSV file with typical comma delimited and quote separated columns. Now we said that the three basic syntax items of the copy command is one, the data source, so we've identified that right here in S3, but two, also an authorization clause. So we haven't set up any kind of authorization yet. Now doing this for Redshift is actually pretty straightforward. Here under my IAM and security section within my AWS account, I'll just switch over here and click on roles. Reading right off the page here, IAM roles are a secure way to grant permissions to entities that you trust. And in this case, what we want to do is grant permissions to Amazon Redshift in order to read things off of our S3 storage. Adding a new one just entails clicking on Create Role. It's a Redshift role, so I will go ahead and click here, and then Redshift Customizable Role. Now this will bring up literally hundreds of potential options that I could assign to that role. Instead of scrolling down, I'll just go ahead and search because I know it has to do with S3, and it's this one right here, Amazon S3 Read Only Access. I'll give it a simple name, Redshift S3, and then a description so that as my cloud presence grows and years from now when I come back and wonder what all these roles are, I'll have meaningful descriptions for each of them. All right, now I have a role that gives me read-only access to those S3 buckets. Now one thing I need to take back with me to my SQL command is this ARN. This is the way that Amazon identifies roles and resources. When we create our basic copy command, we've identified the table that we're going to copy into, we have a from clause, and then we have an authorization clause. In most Amazon documentation, this is listed as a best practice, using a declared IAM role. And so we identify it by that ARN. So I'll go ahead and just paste that into here. And then as far as where we're copying our data from, I will list that S3 bucket. It's the Redshift Load Queue bucket with that dim product.csv file. Now there's lots of additional format and parameters and other options that we can put in here. For example, we can identify that it's going to be comma delimited. We could also do pipes, we could do lots of things, but the file that we're actually importing is comma delimited. Now the other thing we need to do is let it know that it is in the US West 2 region. This tells S3 where it can find that Redshift Load Queue bucket. After all, you could have a bucket in one region and a Redshift cluster in another. And with that, I think we've specified enough information. Let's go ahead and give this a try. So right off the bat, we've got an error here. it says that my Abacos admin account is not authorized to assume the IAM role that we have listed. So what happened? We created the role, we gave it rights, we said that it was a Redshift role. Well, keep in mind that you might have more than one Redshift cluster, so we need to be a little bit more specific. We do have a role, it can access any S3 bucket, but we haven't yet associated that role with a specific Redshift cluster. Now, if you go back to when we very first created our Redshift cluster, there was a lot of options that we kind of blew through and skipped over. One of them was, are there any existing roles that you want associated with this cluster? Well, at the time, we didn't have any, but we do now. So if we go back into our Redshift cluster dashboard, right here on this page, we see this button for Manage IAM Roles. This allows us to come back in and associate new roles that we didn't have available before, or maybe that we just missed. And I can now associate it and move on. Okay, so we now have a good source location where we're copying that CSV from. We're pretty sure that we have our Redshift role both created and assigned to an S3 bucket and associated with a Redshift cluster. So let's run this copy command again and see if we get better results. And sure enough, we load those 606 records just fine.